Welcome to the Missoula Podcast.
The Missoula Podcast.
Brandon, good to be in studio with you.
Dude, I'm so excited.
It's summertime.
It is summertime. The sun has just started to shine consistently. And we're here. Episode 1.
Yeah, excited to highlight some locals, excited to tell some stories.
Missoula just great this time of year. There is so much going on.
Yeah, what have you guys been doing to enjoy the summer?
A lot of baseball. My son's got baseball nightly, whether games, doubleheaders, practices. It's taken a ton of our time. Just baseball, traveling different tournaments, getting around the state. Missoula is just so special this time of year. Like from the farmers market Saturday, we had the marathon weekend, which I'm glad that's over because my wife was running. I'm not disappointed she was running. It was just the calendar. It controls your life when you have to get the miles in, and
the city comes alive.
Yeah,
in June and July in Missoula.
Yeah, downtown.
And it's
just
fun.
It's a blast. It's amazing. I was walking with my family this week, and one of my kids asked me about just doing. I don't remember what it was. Doing something in Missoula, and started realizing there's a whole list of things that I have never done in Missoula. Like I'm a native, born and raised here, and the one that like probably will blows people's mind is I have never been to a GRIZ Cat football game.
I like that you said GRIZ Cat.
Yes, GRIZ first, always.
Because of schedule? Because
I
you
don't
couldn't
know.
afford the tickets?
I don't know.
What is the
I've been
reason?
to, I don't know. They have 5-6 home games a year. I mean, I've been to maybe 50 GRIZ games in my life. Like never. I don't know if it's just schedule, conflicts. Like I've already looked ahead this year, 2023. I'm in Iowa that week. I cannot, like, another year will go by. And so, yeah, there's just several things. Like, I'm creating a Missoula bucket list. I think would probably blow our listeners' minds of things I've never done living here.
Well, we're excited.
Like,
I will help you.
I've never hiked the L.
That's
the L.
Yeah.
Never. Have you?
I did it last week with my wife. Yes. Because I'm a normal Missoulian.
Like I have
That's
never
what you
been
do. You
like
go to
I
the ML.
only go to the M. Like I didn't know that was an option. Like I've never done that. But how about you? Anything you have never done in Missoula, Montana?
I mean, no, not really. I'm one of those guys that wants to try everything.
You've done it all.
I haven't surfed Brennan's Wave, but I feel like a lot of people haven't done that.
Yeah, I haven't. Have you floated over it?
I don't think so. I think I get out before then.
Dude, you got to get out. Brennan's Wave. Everybody's done Brennan's Wave.
I know. That's like that's the highlight, right? Well, we need to get on that. And so for our listeners, we're going to get that list going. We got to get knock some of these down.
We want to hear from you. Send us a text, 406-888-MSLA, 406-888-MSLA. If there's something in Missoula you have never done, we want to hear from you. Shoot us a text. Let us know what that is. We'd love to add that to our Missoula bucket list, things we need to accomplish. So,
well, we have episode 1 today.
Yes.
And this interview is going to be really good.
I'm really excited.
The face of Missoula, some call him.
He, news anchor, Fox, ABC, well established.
Nonstop local.
He's crazy. Ben Wineman is his name. Incredible conversation. We could have talked with him for hours. So great. You've known him for years and really kind of teed up this conversation. So let's just dive in. Here is Ben Wineman from Nonstop Local.
Ben Wineman, welcome to the Missoula Podcast. How are you today?
I'm great, guys. This is an honor. Congrats on the podcast.
Thank you.
I'm excited to be here.
Well,
you've done this before? You've been on camera behind a mic?
I've been on camera. I've been technically behind a mic. I got to admit to you that, well, take that back. This is not my first podcast, but
okay.
This is a really cool studio you guys got here. I wish the folks could see it. This is a nice little man cave you got.
It's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to have what most people think of as the face of Missoula in ways on their TV. But you're not a local. I mean, you are a local now, but you're not a native Montanan. And so
Yeah.
tell us how.
But you're a local celebrity.
I don't know.
You are.
I'm like a C-level celebrity. Does that count? Like if Bobby Houck was like an A-level, I'd be like a C-level.
You're C-level?
Well, you're an A-level to us.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, tell us a little bit about how you came to Nonstop Local and a little bit about your story.
Yeah.
And why you call this place home.
Yeah. Well, Montana runs in my family. My mom graduated from Billings West.
Okay.
Went to the University of Montana. My dad was from California and went into when he was in high school, went into the guidance counselor's office and was like, I don't want to be in Montana, or I don't want to be in California. I want to get out of here. The guidance counselor had a brochure for the University of Montana and was like, what about this place? And my dad was like, that looks great. Drove up, never been to Montana before, went to school. They met their freshman year here at the University of Montana, my mom and my dad. And then, they got married and we moved. My dad's a firefighter, so we moved to Seattle area. That's originally where I'm from, born and raised in Seattle. But we would come back.
It's rare for people to move from Montana.
I know, right?
To Seattle.
I know, right? Yeah, I know. And that's the cool thing. When I was growing up in Seattle, we had this group called the Montana Gang, and it was all these people that lived in Seattle that my parents went to school with that knew here in Missoula, and so. So it was really cool to kind of like still get that Montana experience. We came over for GRIZ games probably once every couple of years. Went to Yellowstone a few times, went to Big Sky. So I knew Montana. Montana was definitely a big part of growing up. Went to Washington State for school. Go Cougs. The Edward R. Murrow School of Communication. Great spot. Really lucky to be part of that journalism school. And in broadcasting, when you graduate college, the story is usually you apply to, hundreds of TV stations around the country, hoping, praying you get an interview. I knew a guy who was leaving Nonstop Local, a sports guy. He was a Coug, and he talked to one of my advisors at Washington State and was like, do you have any Cougs coming up the pipeline that we can maybe give a job to? And my advisor told him about me. And so I basically applied for one job.
Whoa.
It's pretty rare. I'm not bragging. It's extremely rare that happens. But, and then when I learned it was in Missoula covering sports, covering the GRIZ and the Cats, high school sports, it was,
we don't say C
say
word
Cats.
on this podcast. This is the Missoula Podcast, Ben.
2 C words. We don't say the one in particular, but yes, the Cats. Sorry, excuse me. We're definitely a GRIZ family. With both my parents, my wife went to the University of Montana, so we love the GRIZ. We're season ticket holders. So when I learned this job was in Missoula, I was like, oh, I love Missoula. I could easily start my adult life there. Yeah. And I did. So that was summer 2016, and it seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But yeah. So then I've been here ever since.
So when you're growing up in Washington, when did you first have an idea of, oh, I'm going to be a journalist, or I want to be on TV?
Yeah.
This is not a normal thought, maybe for a lot of young people growing up.
Sure.
So yeah, was there an experience or moment that you had that this is the direction my life is going?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it definitely, I grew up, my parents loved the local news, and we would watch the local news in Seattle pretty much every night. We would watch the nightly news, the national news. We'd watch King 5 was our station in Seattle. And I watch those guys, especially sports. Like the sports guys were, I love sports, and that was kind of the draw for me. And I loved ESPN and wanted to be a Sports Center anchor and stuff like that. And so to get to, I fell in love with the Pullman campus, and they've got a great journalism program. And I wanted to be performing. I wanted to be in front of people talking and entertaining and informing. And so it was just a natural fit for me. And so I think I was a theater guy in high school. And I think about our broadcasts as shows. Like we put on basically 5 shows a night, and we're I wouldn't say we're acting, but like we're definitely like performing, we're on camera in front of people delivering a product.
You got to be on. Like
you're in the
100%.
zone.
Yeah.
That red light pops on, you got to be ready to go. Yeah. So
much like the personal drama, stresses at home have to go away. Like
got to leave it aside.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something I've gotten better at a lot over the last couple of years for sure. But yeah, so I think it was just a natural fit for me to be in front of the camera. And for some people, as you said, Steve, that scares the living daylights out of them.
Right. Public speaking is the
100%.
biggest fear. And then add a camera into that. I can't imagine that's a normal experience for most people. And you're like, yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, you got the lights, you got the microphone. I wear makeup sometimes.
I was gonna say, do you wear makeup?
I do wear makeup. I not often.
Do you put on your own makeup?
I do put on my own makeup. I'm not too big time enough to have someone put my own makeup on. I do need help sometimes. We have a female anchor that Rachel DeAngelis, who helps me out a lot. She's the makeup queen, and she'll be like, I'll put it on, and she'll look at me, and she'll be like, "Yep, nope, you need more here. You need more here." So I have very, very red, blotchy skin, so white skin. So yeah, you definitely need makeup on there for sure, especially after a sunburn. But
you just started with like your story where you started. I want to jump to the end.
Yeah.
What is, for Ben, what is the goal? What is the dream in this? Is it still Sports Center if ESPN called today, or have you found your stride? Like, you know what, you like community, Missoula, 100,000 people.
Sure.
You know, the culture of your office, and like, you're just doing what you were made to do.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's an interesting thing about our business is you start in your starter market, which is usually a market the size of Missoula.
Sure.
You're there for your 2-year contract, and then you're gone. And the biggest reason is because you want better experience, better hours, bigger market, better pay, better jobs. And for me, it just kind of happened where it was like, I kind of found my pond.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I would look at it, is, you know, I think each market is a pond, and some people love the bigger pond. Some people want to go to New York or go to Bristol, Connecticut and ESPN, and go to LA. And for me, it was like, I got some really cool experience doing internships in college down in Los Angeles, and watching those folks who are on air in that size of market, their personal lives, not 100% across the board, but for the most part, they're not married, they're divorced, they don't know their kids, they don't have kids. And for me, I think I wanted to be a good broadcaster, and I still want to be a good broadcaster. But for me, like, through everything, high school, college, my adult life, it's like, want to be a husband, want to be a good dad, good husband, good dad. And so this market size allows me to do that. If I was in a higher market, it would be a lot harder to be home in the evenings every night for dinner, working on weekends and stuff like that. Like, I've made it to the top of the food chain. So goal wise, I mean, if ESPN called,
you'd have a conversation.
Missoula, I love you, but no, I mean, but I could definitely see myself being on air and being Missoula's broadcaster for the next 25, 30 years.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, outside of being on camera and working, you said this was your pond.
Yeah.
What do you love about Missoula that you maybe get to experience with your wife, that you now have a kid? What do you love about this place?
Yeah. That's a great question. And it's hard to like wrap your mind around it a lot. I think one of the things I love about it is that it's so communal.
Yeah.
One of the things I loved about Pullman, Washington, where I went to school, is that it's a small town, and you're in a college town, and you walk across campus, and I never walked across the Pullman campus without seeing someone that I knew.
Sure.
The same thing is in Missoula. Even though Missoula is bigger than Pullman, I feel like I go anywhere and I know someone. I run into someone at Costco, or I run into someone at the GRIZ game, or I run into someone downtown on Higgins Street. You know, like, and that's the cool thing I love about that, is that the faces that you see in this city are familiar. I love also the fact that it's a great place to raise a family. Like, great schools, both elementary, secondary. University of Montana is a world-class institution. We won't talk about that one in Bozeman.
Good. You're learning.
That's wise.
Yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning. I got it. So I love that. You know, my wife is a public school teacher at Hellgate High School. So we really believe in public education and having our kids go to a place that really believes in education and wants their kids to succeed. So that's really great. And then just the fun aspect of it. It's like, I 5 minutes away from taking my dog out on an unleashed area like Blue Mountain, and I can just let it run wild, and I'm in the mountains, I'm in the woods, and so not many places you can have that. So we're very lucky.
Well, I'm guessing, I know nothing about journalism, so correct me if I'm wrong.
That's fine.
I'm making some assumptions here.
That's fine.
Based on a community the size of Missoula and the size of the organization you work for, I would imagine you do a little bit of everything. You don't have a writer. You're not just sitting down at the desk and going with what's been put in front of you. So you're writing the story, you're broadcasting, you're closing down, locking the doors when you leave at night.
Pretty much, yeah.
So what, as you said, you put on like 5 shows a night.
Yeah.
What for you is that feeling that this is why I do what I do? When do you feel a win in through all the different stages of journalism? What at the end of the night is this? Oh, I love my job.
That's a great question. It's a really great question.
What's the win?
The win is a really good broadcast. And as any job, you go through, some days you don't like your job. Some days you have really bad time at your job. You make mistakes. The people that you're working with aren't the best. Any job is like that. The cool thing is that, if we have a bad 5 o'clock show, we get 4 more opportunities to turn it around, and at this level, it's like, technology fails or live shots fail, or I flub a line, or that crosstalk wasn't the best, that story maybe should have been told a different way. I get home at night and I think to myself, when we have a good broadcast, when we deliver a really good product for the people that are viewing us, that's a win. I also would say too, the win for me in my job and being in a small market, the anchors, myself, our sports director, our meteorologist, like we call it kind of the core 4. Those folks in those positions, including myself, are usually here in Missoula for a while. Multiple contracts. They've kind of found their niche. Our reporters, our producers, our production folks, those guys are churning through pretty quickly. So the one thing I love about my job is I get to be a mentor. I get to be a advisor. I get to be a guide to those folks, not just from a broadcasting perspective, making them better journalists, but I get to be like, they're fresh out of college. They've never had a professional job before. Most likely they've never been in this business before. They don't even know how to do their laundry, and it's like, how do you be an adult? Like, I get to help them with that as well. So,
do you have those moments that red light goes off and the high fives of, oh, we crushed it? That was a great production.
Absolutely.
Or then the moments where you guys just laugh, like, I don't know what just happened tonight.
It can literally be the same night. You could have that. You could have one show be like that, where we're like, oh my God, hopefully no one saw that, even though we know people do. And then
we do the same thing with this podcast.
That's great. That's great. And that's the thing about being creative and being an artist. And I wouldn't call myself an artist, but like getting to perform in front of people, like you're putting yourself out there and you totally sometimes make mistakes. But then sometimes you freaking crush it.
Yeah.
And I definitely, we do, not all the time, but sometimes on big shows, we'll do like post-show meetings, kind of huddles, and what went well, what didn't go well. And there have been a lot of times where we just, high five people, just people really pumped about what we just did and that what we pulled off. And that's really cool to be a part of.
One other question for you, and then I know Steven has
a
couple to go a little deeper here.
You're good.
How do you handle what appears to be the pushback of the media is wrong? There's propaganda.
Sure.
You can't trust them. They need to be canceled. Turn off your TVs. Stop letting the talking heads influence your life and your happiness. How do you, as somebody who is paid to share the story, how do you handle that? How do you?
Yeah. I'm a member of the media.
Yeah.
I'm doing air quotes here. The media.
Are you paid under the table to spin the story?
Like by the man.
Right.
Yeah,
100%. I bet you've heard some really bad things about yourself. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Here's the deal. I'll leave politics out of it, even though politics plays a huge role in this. There are certain people in the political spectrum that have it out for the media, and that's okay. I think that there are some valid criticisms of the media, quote unquote. I keep using the media. I think the biggest thing that I always tell people is, I'll say this and then I'll tell you a funny story about viewer feedback. I think that people think that when they lump local media into the national media, just as one big media conglomerate. we are so we're nonstop local. I broadcast every night on the ABC affiliate and the Fox affiliate. So we're on ABC and Fox. People see the ABC and the Fox logo on some of our stuff, and they're like, especially if you're in Missoula, they see the Fox
assumptions
logo.
are made immediately.
Oh, you're controlled by Fox News. And if we're down in the Bitterroot, or if we're up in Kalispell and they see the ABC logo, you're the liberal media, or whatever.
Sure.
Not true at all. And I think that the biggest perception that I like to debunk with people is that the local media is people living in your community. I live in Missoula. I raise my family here. I care about this place. And we're not national talking heads with an agenda.
Is it difficult for you to be fair, accurate, or do your personal beliefs, politics influence your
Great question.
stories?
That's a great question. I would say
I'm sure it's a challenge every day.
100%.
You have your bias and then you have to go do your job. Like, how do you manage that?
100%. You go back to your journalistic ethics. And I really think, and it's really tough. There are definitely times where I'm like, do I want to be telling this story right now? No, I don't agree with it. I don't believe it personally. Mm-hmm. But as a journalist, it is my job to inform and to present both sides. An example of that would be, and it's, I'll pick Donald Trump here, but just pick any politician. I've had it happen, but this one in particular was about President Trump. We did a story about President Trump. While he was president, he did something with the debt ceiling or whatever. And I did the story, go back to my desk like 10 minutes later, and an email pops in there. Or no, one email. And then as I'm reading the email, a different email pops in. The first email basically goes, you didn't support him enough. You crushed him. You crushed the president. How dare you? Like you're an enemy.
General viewers.
You're an enemy of the people. Yep. General viewers. And people email me all the time. Mm-hmm. As I'm reading that email, another email pops in being like, you didn't crush him enough. Like, this guy needs to like burn. Like, he's a horrible human being. Like, come on, do your job. Tell the truth. So that's tough to read. The thing that I like about that story is that it tells me that I'm doing it correctly. Because if both sides are like thinking I'm supporting the other side, that's a good thing.
So do you respond or just delete? Delete.
No, very, very. I have probably responded to. If they're nice,
I bet you've got some great emails.
I take that back. I have gotten a lot of great emails, stuff I can't share right now.
Do you have a file? You just
drag and
the funny thing, having a tough day. Just go read all the nice emails.
I mean, honestly, our news director has a policy where if you get a tough email, you can write a response. In a draft. Don't hit reply, but do it in a draft. You can send it to the news director, and there you go. That's like your outlet to respond.
Healthy.
That's wise because you need that outlet. You're still human.
100%. I think the biggest thing that folks need to take away from is the local media are people that care about Montana, care about Missoula, care about their communities. We are not the talking heads on Fox or CNN or MSNBC.
Yeah,
we're completely separate. We're not controlled by them. We're not dictated by them. We don't have must runs that you have to do a slant or a side. It's down the middle journalism. And I think our team in particular, and I would say most media organizations in Montana are really good about this, that we present you the facts as an audience. You take those facts and you get to decide what you do with them. And that's our goal. So when you get into the opinion, it gets a little hairy.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Ben, getting to know you over the last couple of years, it's been awesome. You are the real deal.
I don't know.
I know it's hard.
Is this the part of the podcast where he just fluffs me? This is great.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Just sit here and take it.
No, but what's so?
And then I come in and I tell you where you're just
right. Exactly. I love it.
Yeah. Bad cop, good cop.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Build them up, break them down. No, I love how much you actually care about people. It's not fake.
Thank you.
So what I see on my TV is a pretty normal version of our friendship. You care about people, you're interested in people, you're much more likely to ask them about their story. So I want to ask.
Well, sorry, let me interject here. A couple of weeks ago, our team here, we're at a production meeting and we're working on, hey, upcoming schedule, guests, what do you want to do? And both Nick, our producer, and Steven immediately were like, Ben Wineman. And I was like, from the news? And like, yeah. I was like, why? Cares about community, real deal. Like everything Steven just said, I can tell you behind closed doors. They're like, he needs to be our first guest for all of these reasons. So
guys,
yeah.
thank you.
So,
That's really nice.
yeah,
Thank you.
So
Nick, thank you.
Yeah.
So the question is, how did you get so nice?
Oh my God. I mean, man. Have you guys seen the show Ted Lasso?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
a few episodes. I just couldn't. Yeah.
Okay. So there's this classic scene in Ted Lasso where he's playing darts. And did you know the scene?
Mm-hmm.
He's playing darts and he's playing against a guy who's like just ragging him and totally judging him. And Ted Lasso goes, people need to be more curious. And people just need to be more curious about their world. And I think from the very beginning, growing up, I think I had two parents that were extremely curious about the world around them, curious about other people. And actually being curious just gets the onus off of you and puts it on the other person. And it's a genuine curiosity too, I think. And that leads me into like journalism too. It's like, I love getting to know people's stories. I love getting to learn what makes them tick. I love what experiences they've gone through that make them the person who they are today. And so I just was raised like that. And I think that curiosity just is something that's taught and not just internally.
Have you ever had a bad day?
I have. Believe me, I've had very many bad days. I've had a lot of bad days.
When the Cougs lose.
When the Huskies win, man. The last couple Brawl the Wilds have been really bad.
Yeah, you're right.
It's been rough. I was speaking at a conference in Bose. I almost said it. The other side of the divide a couple of weeks ago.
Sure.
And talking about just the difference in business and relationships, and Missoula is very different from that community. And I wanted to insert a great joke about football and championships, but I have nothing right now. Like, it's been so painful.
You talk about we'll get back to you talked about like picking sides.
Yeah.
We technically broadcast, so it's kind of hard for people to fathom. We broadcast pretty much 2/3 of the state. So I'm based in Missoula, our studio's in Missoula, but we broadcast pretty much statewide. Everything besides like Billings, Miles City, Glendive area, everything kind of to the Wyoming, Dakota border. So I'm in like, you can watch me every night in Great Falls and Helena and Kalispell and Butte and Bozeman. And during Brawl the Wild, as a company, we have to be really clear about like, okay, your anchors are, we support both schools. And then the one time I get to like, is the Friday before the game where I get to like wear my maroon and silver. Our co-anchor gets to wear.
See, Steven, that's the media propaganda.
Yeah,
He is not.
Am I biased?
Yeah.
Yes, I am. I am. I got to admit it.
But like, so who in media, who is like one of your mentors? Like obviously your parents with the curiosity and kindness.
Sure.
But now in your career, who is maybe a journalist that is a household name that you love to just watch, not to hear their words, but body language, the way they tell a story, the way they communicate.
Absolutely.
Who do you look up to?
It's a great question. I'll give you one news and one sports guy.
Okay.
Sports guy is Scott Van Pelt.
I was going to say SVP.
He's
phenomenal.
And you both were just nodding as I said that. Like he's smooth. He's genuine. He's
the greatest show on ESPN.
100%. And I love watching his interviews. Like the stuff he does with like during his show and with Stanford Steve, like that's awesome.
Yep.
But like when you watch him during an interview, he's curious and he's so genuine about like just being like, "No, dude, tell me your story. Like sit down, let's just have a conversation. Let's be real. Let's not be on script, you know?" So I love that about SVP. An old poll for news, someone that I loved watching who's not on news anymore, with Tom Brokaw. Knows who Tom Brokaw is. Yeah. I grew up watching Tom Brokaw on NBC, and the guy just oozed poise. And I love that about him. And that he was the gravitas. Whenever Tom Brokaw was telling you something, you believed it. And I think that's, in today's media landscape, to get that trust in an audience is like critical. It's like bar none, like the most important thing.
So that's the bar. Bristol calls and say, "Hey, SVP's retired. We want to start the BW."
I'd have to go to my wife Ashley and be like, "How do you feel about Bristol, Connecticut?"
The BW.
It's nice.
The
this
BW,
time of
11 p.m.
The BW. I don't have glasses either like that. Like I don't have. I need a brand.
Everything about it, like his logo, his
100%.
It's so good.
He's so great.
100%.
So great.
Yeah.
So before we jump into our next part of this, I want to hear a little bit more about your passions. I know that speaking and being on camera is a craft.
Sure.
And you're looking up to SVP and Brokaw.
Oh yeah.
what currently are you trying to add to your repertoire? What is something
My tool belt?
Yeah, your tool belt. That's way better. See,
Yeah.
you're good at this.
Yeah.
What's something you're like, man, if I can do this,
Foundation,
I'm going to take another
eyeliner.
Yeah.
And all the makeup.
That's a great one. That's a great one. I'm not sure I'll ever be good at that. I'm now the father of a daughter, so maybe I need to.
Yeah.
Once she starts wearing makeup, maybe I'll finally get better at it.
Show her some pointers.
Yeah,
no, honey, here's how
she'll
you do
show.
it.
She'll be showing me. Man, that's a great question. The first thing that comes to mind, I think, would be, I think I need to be a better interviewer. I really want to get better at interviewing people. And there is a craft, as you guys are aware of being a podcast host, like there's a craft to asking questions and getting the answer that you're looking for, but also having the ability to let the person just surprise you with their answer, and then following up on that person's questions with other questions, or that person's answer with other questions. Yeah. And so I have, when I go into an interview, like especially a sit down one, like, with like, I've interviewed the governor and senators and representatives, and they've got 15 minutes. So I have to get through a list of questions. So I try to stick to that list, but I would love to kind of get better at being a little bit more free flowing, even at a time limit, but just be a little bit more free flowing and try to get those important answers out of folks. And it's the art of asking the question and not asking in a way that shuts down a certain type of answer. So yeah, I'd say that. There's many things I need to improve on, and I'm always trying to. That the thing I do, I'm fully aware of, is I don't want to be stagnant in my abilities, because you can get in any job, but in my job too, you can get very stagnant in your comfort level. Like, I'm really comfortable right now. Like, I don't need to push myself. And I'll tell that to our new reporters all the time. You can kind of see them the first year, once they reach like year one of their professional career, they get stagnant. They're like, okay, cool. I'm comfortable. I get everything turned in. I understand what's going on. It's like, I have to have that conversation and be like, okay, how do we get better? How do we keep improving? And so it's a conversation I try to have with myself too. So.
Do you ever get starstruck in any of those interviews? I'm interviewing the governor. Do you ever have?
No offense to Greg Gianforte. I've interviewed Steve Bullock. Those guys don't starstruck me. Starstruck me. Yeah, I'm the guy who talks to professionally and have bad grammar. The one that I got starstruck with was, I interviewed like a week into the job. I interviewed Jerry Rice.
Wow.
Yeah. Like literally a week into Montana, I went up to Kalispell. Eddie DeBartolo, who's the former 49ers owner, lives on Flathead Lake. And every year he has some 49ers that come up and do like an NFL Play 60 event.
Sure.
So I got to interview Jerry Rice like a week into the job, and I'm like, oh my God, he's the greatest wide receiver of all time. And I'm interviewing him in Kalispell, Montana.
Yeah,
like, how's that happen?
Places.
Yeah. So that's
awesome.
probably the biggest time I've gotten starstruck. But no offense to the politicians, but you guys don't starstruck me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some of your passions, and it's obvious that this Help Me Ben segment that you get to do is near and dear to your heart. So can you let our guests know, our audience, what that's about?
Yeah.
Maybe how they can get involved,
and where it came from.
Yeah. And where it came from.
Absolutely. So, a couple of years ago, our company was trying to do some, we hired a research firm to kind of get a sense of, as the news media landscape is changing, what do our viewers want from their local news? And one of the things that they kept coming back at during that research time was, we want solutions. We don't want you to tell us our problems. We want you to tell us how we can solve those problems. People don't want to turn on their local news and just hear
problems.
30 straight minutes of the world's bad, everything sucks, good luck, And so we have our sister station, our mothership station is in Spokane, KHQ television, and they have a reporter there named Haley Gunther. And Haley for years has had this segment called Help Me Haley, where people will email her with basically just needing help. I have a question about this. I need this government official to help me out, and they're giving me the cold shoulder. Lots of different things. And so for years, it's been the most popular segment in Spokane. She gets hundreds and hundreds of emails a year from people in Spokane being like, we need help and you're our advocate. And what can you do to help us? So we wanted to start something like that here in Montana. And it's cool because, Haley does that in just the Spokane area, which is large, but I'm trying to do it like statewide.
Dang.
So it's a huge undertaking. So we've been doing it now for 2 years. I have a running tally on my computer, an Excel spreadsheet of how many people I've helped. I've helped like 200 people.
Wow.
Which pretty proud of. Our team has done a really good job. And their stories, people, I probably get an email or two a day from people writing in being like, I have this issue going on in my neighborhood. People aren't listening to me, or, hey, why is the river this way? Or, what about what's going on at the University of Montana? Some of them I read those emails and I'm like, I can't help you. You need a lawyer, or you need to go talk to the cops, or, stuff like that. And then there are genuine times where I'm like, oh, I can definitely do that. And so some of my favorites would be about a year and a half ago, we had a woman who, we had an earthquake when we started this. We had an earthquake about 4 or 5 years ago in the Lincoln area. An earthquake, we felt it here in Missoula. The earthquake opened up. There's a woman who lived on the South Hills here in Missoula, opened up like an underground spring under her house. And she tried for years to try to get it mitigated, and the spring just kept flowing water. And so she had like a stagnant, gross, fungus-filled, bacteria-filled pond in her backyard. It was not supposed to be there. Just sitting water, just not supposed to be there. And she goes, I've tried to talk to the city. I've tried to get the county out here. Like, I want my backyard back. Like, no one is listening to me. Like, can you help me? And I was like, I can't, I never make promises, but I never promise, hey, I'm definitely going to help you here. But I'm like, yeah, I can try. And so just going to the county, or going to the city on her behalf, and just saying, hey guys, like, this is a horrible thing going on in this women's backyard. Like, I know it's a private property issue, but like, let's do something to like mitigate this issue. It's a lot harder for them to say no to me than it would be to them, to her, like any government official, law enforcement official, politician can ignore the common man. That's why I'm the advocate. It's a lot harder for them to, forget my number, miss my calls, or ignore my emails. And so, so we got basically I kind of strong armed the city to kind of help there, and they did. And to their credit, they totally did. They applied for grant funding through, this is around the time of the COVID relief stuff. So they got COVID relief money, and they're redoing all of the drainage system up there in the South Hills. Wow. And that lady's house is now good. That's awesome. And so, yeah, 100%. It is awesome. Really cool. And that's really cool. And so getting to work with them was really awesome, and getting to see her like emotion about just like getting to enjoy her backyard again. Something that's so
in all seriousness, what gave you more joy? Interviewing Jerry Rice or seeing the emotion from that woman that you helped?
Oh, I mean, the woman.
Obviously.
I love Jerry Rice.
Obviously.
But even as a Seahawks fan, I love Jerry Rice. But actually a former Seahawk, Jerry Rice.
Yeah, you're right.
He did play there. No, I mean, that's it. Like, that's the getting to like see someone, like, know that you impacted someone's experience, someone's world, just with your work is awesome.
And how cool you can use your platform to impact
100%
other people's lives beyond just
100%
reporting a story that happened earlier in the day.
And my coolest story is that we're still working on, that hopefully will be airing in the next couple weeks, or probably at least the next month or two. Will be, a woman came to me about a year and a half ago from Helena. Her dad served in World War II. She had a Japanese battle flag. Like, her dad passed away, but she had this battle flag, and it's a Japanese flag with like Japanese calligraphy, like all over it, like handwriting. And she goes, I want to find the soldier who this flag belonged to. It's not ours. We want to give it back. And so can you help me? And I'm like, sure. I mean, where do you even start with that? So we got a translator, a Japanese woman who lives here and lived in Helena, and she helped us translate the flag. We found out the soldier's name, like all of his family members. We talked to some Japanese journalists over in Japan, got connected with them. They, within 2 months, found the guy. He was alive, 99 years old. His name's Kenzo Kobayashi. So we coordinated with them to send the flag back to Japan. And we've got video of Kenzo receiving his flag that he carried into World War II. Hasn't seen it in 75 years. And so getting to provide help to the Japanese family, to provide closure for them. They get their flag back, but then to help the Helena woman get closure for her family and her father, to return honor to them. Like that's really cool. So we're going to tell like a half-hour special about that story. So
Help Me Ben it's no longer just Missoula or Montana. You're going global.
I'm going global. I really am.
Yeah, watch out, SVP.
I really am. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Yeah, it's taking us international.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's stories like that where I get to like be the advocate, and it's really special. It's a really cool, it's a great responsibility. It's Spider-Man, right? With great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. It's a cool thing that we get to do.
Yeah. I'm glad you're using your platform to help people.
Absolutely.
Ben, if our listeners, our viewers want to get some more information about Help Me Ben, follow you, is there a place that they can find more information on that?
Yeah, absolutely. We love folks that flip on the news. We are on every night of the week, Monday through 7 days a week. I'm on Monday through Friday, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6:30, 10 o'clock on ABC Montana, 9 o'clock on Fox Montana. And then if you have a problem or you're looking for a solution, or you might just need some help, you can go to nonstoplocal.com/helpmeben, and folks can write me in with some of their questions or concerns. And I will hopefully be able to tackle them and provide you guys some help and relief.
Are you getting a lot of requests on Help Me Ben, or is it?
Yeah,
it's growing.
Oh yeah. We get. I probably get at least an email a day from people who are around the state of Montana that are looking for help. And
I've got some weeds in my backyard, so I'll shoot you a message this afternoon.
Good to know. I appreciate that. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to serve. So yeah.
Ben, in all seriousness, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for what you do in this community.
Yeah, thank you.
It was an honor to have you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And everything Nick and Steven said about you, like, you're the real deal. And I appreciate your genuineness, and thanks for taking time out of your day.
Thank you both. All three of you too, Nick. Shout out to Nick, our producer here. And good luck with the podcast. This is awesome. I will definitely be listening.
Awesome. Thank you.
See you then.